going to light the candles. Yeah.
Good evening, Bhante. Good evening, brother and sister. Please rise. Please be seated.
Yeah, please.
So, dear brothers and sisters, today is a class number 57, Dhajagga Sutta. So, we will talk about great qualities of Buddha on the qualities 7 to 9. And, any newcomer? Okay. So, if you haven't registered, or you can QR to put in a WhatsApp group later. So, since we have newcomer, so we will give an introduction about our teacher, Bhante G.Chandima. Bhante G.Chandima is an associate editor of the Journal of International Buddhist Studies at Buddhist Research Institute of MCU University in Thailand. He was formerly a research fellow at the Center for Studies in Religion and Society of the University of Victoria, Canada. His most recent article, The Function and Contemporary Role of Sikkhapaccayakkhana, Abandoning the Training Rules, in the Pali Canon, was published in the Journal of Buddhist Ethics under the Pennsylvania State University Press, USA. His work can be accessed at Patisota blogspot.com. So Patisota blog was ranked 58 globally in the 100 best Buddhist blogs and websites for 2024. So now let's put palms together to welcome Bhante to deliver the talk. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Bailing, please. Today, Sister Eng is not coming, so she and Sister Bailing, they had a discussion, so then she came up. Thank you for that. And a good evening, a very good evening to all of you. Welcome. At the same time, we noticed that there is one newcomer over there. So don't worry, because we have a blog post for every Monday, so you might see that. I don't know whether you have joined our WhatsApp group yet. There's a QR code. You can scan the QR code and then you will be able to join the WhatsApp group from today onwards. Before we get started, today's sutta discussion, we will respect the Buddha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. We have been discussing Dhajagga Sutta, as you can see in the flyer over here. Yeah, Dhajagga Sutta. Dhajagga Sutta is a sutta. Sutta means one of the discourses of the Buddha that is mentioned in the Pali Canon under Sangyutta Nikaya 11.3. This sutta is a very interesting sutta discourse where Buddha teaches us how to overcome our fear, anxiety, and then those negative emotions that are coming time to time. And then Buddha actually gave a story why he wanted to discuss this matter with the other monks. The story was the recurrent fight between two groups, Suras and Asuras. Most of the time, Suras, that's mean Deva, deities, they won. But sometimes Deva lost the battle to Asuras. There was one incident, that story, having lost the war to the Asuras, Sakka, the head god in the Buddhist teachings, the Sakka and his driver Matali, they were now going back. And then Sakka was telling Matali, do not drive so fast, because it might affect the birds on the way. And then suddenly the cart was turned around, and then the Asuras were chasing them. Asuras thought they were going to come and fight again. Asuras ran away. So it was a different incident, but they thought they are coming back to do something else. Something they lost, they were running. So Sakka was even very compassionate, even at the time of defeat. Said, don't drive very fast, because these birds will be affected. So anyways, most of the times deities, they won. Sometimes deities lost the battle to the Asuras. Asuras are also a very powerful set of beings. The importance is not that fight. The importance in the sutta is that what we can do to overcome our own fears and then anxieties, which are coming time to time. So in this Dhajagga Sutta, we have been studying a lot of things so far. First of all, we studied about the background story, where we understand the war between Suras and Asuras, as you can see. You can get all the links from the coordinator. Today she's not attending, but she will attend. And I think Sister Beeling can connect her to the Sister Eng. And we studied about the background story, and then Buddha was uttering the story, the narration between the Devas and Asuras. And then the Buddha said that Devas even could not help themselves. Then why do you expect Devas to come and help you? Devas cannot protect Devas sometimes. How do Devas protect us? That's a two different aspects of this thing. Devas can protect beings, but there are times that Devas lose their immunity to the other powerful beings, right? It can happen. Like what happened to the Buddha and the monks during one Vassa time, right? Two horse trainers, they invited the Buddha for the Vassa, and then they forgot about the invitation. So there were no food for the Buddha and the Mahasangha. Like you've been taking care of monks every day, morning and 2 mornings. They forgot about. Say Buddha and all the Arahants had to eat the food given to the horses. Interesting, huh? Food given to the horses, right? So there are things like that. So, but those kind of things do not underestimate the main idea about the Devas, what Devas can do to humans, and how magnificent, how powerful is the Buddha in different contexts, right? Sometimes these ideas give us a different outlook that everybody has to go through certain difficulties in their own, in his or her or their own journey, like how the Buddha went kind of a headache, migraine, and then how the Buddha had a back pain. He was not then if someone is free from all these things, then that person should have no problem, right? He had a back pain, he had a severe headache. So during those times, Buddha asked other monks, please, I cannot keep giving the Dhamma talk. I better go and rest. You continue, right? There were things like that. There are stories also attached to that. One story that we see that why he got the severe headache was that he was enjoying in a place where other people are catching fish in a story, long time story. He did not catch the fish, but he was enjoying, how nice, how beautiful is that hook. They are making the bait very well. The fish is getting stuck into the bait. And that happiness that means not that evil people do evil things to evil people. If you are being a third person, becoming happy, how the evil person A is doing the evil things to evil person B is also creating akusala karma, because you are doing unnecessary things. Looking at the evil people, you are creating akusalas. That's unnecessary. So what is to be understood is that nobody has gone through this perfect health or wealth journey, but some are better than others. Definitely Buddha is in that way highest, but there are certain things. And then the Buddha advises monks, even the lay people. Devas had a certain agreement that when the Devas are losing to their enemies, Asuras, they are asked to look at the top of the flags of certain powerful Devas. But what happened at the end, at times it didn't work. I think it worked in different times. Say for instance, it works in our own way. Sometimes when some bad things are happening to you, you are thinking about your loved ones, right? Somebody who is very close to you, who is really wishing you true metta. It can help you, because somebody is really taking care of you. Although Buddhism talks about that everything is fleeting, but sense of belonging is such a powerful thing too, right? Sense of belonging. Compared to someone who is severely alone for the whole time, right? At times it's okay, at times it's not okay. So then what the Buddha said was, why at times beseeching, requesting these powerful Devas did not work for other Devas was these Devas still have their own personal level of fear. So how come those guys help you? You have fear problem, they also have their own fear problem, right? So that's why Buddha said, think about, reflect upon the Buddha's qualities, his qualities. Now we are discussing his qualities, Buddha's qualities. Today we are going to finish. I think we discuss almost, how many? 6 qualities. Today we are going to discuss 7 to 9, 7, 8, 9. So we discuss first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. There are 9 great qualities of the Buddha. When we say Buddha, all the Buddhas, there are many Buddhas. As of now, we understand 28 Buddhas. But there's one more coming up, 29 then. But then what about Buddhas before the first Buddha? Were there Buddhas before? Before the first Buddha? Who is the first Buddha? There is no first Buddha. But for the logistic we say Tannankara Buddha is the first one. For the logistic purpose, for the easy memorization. Then who gave the precise statement to Tannankara Buddha? There must have been another Buddha. No Buddha can become a Buddha without getting a certain confirmation from another Buddha. Now this Maitreya Buddha who is coming up got his confirmation from this Buddha, Gautama Shakyamuni Buddha, when he came to Sankassa, city of Sankassa. So that way there are many Buddhas, but we only take 28 as of now. So 9 great qualities are not just common to Gautama Buddha, it's a set of qualities that are common to all the Buddhas. Alright, so let's go to the text now. This is the place where we are supposed to discuss these couple of weeks actually. So this is the starting point. Arahang is number 1, first quality. Samma Sambuddha number 2. Vijjacharana Sampanna number 3. Sugato number 4. Lokavidu number 5. Anuttaro Purusha Dhammasarathi number 6. The qualities which we have done so far. Then Satta Deva Manussanang number 7, which we're going to study today, 7. Buddho number 8, Bhagava number 9, and that's the end of this great qualities of the Buddha. Alright. Satta Deva Manussanang. Satta. What does Satta mean? Satta. Okay. Does this Pali word have other meanings? Other meanings? Satta, the meaning here is teacher. Right? Teacher. Now in Buddhism, there are two types of guidance with regard to a student. Okay? 2 types. What are they? There are 2 types of guidance. One is called avavada. Second one is called anusasana. Now when someone is guiding you, Buddha, monk, whoever, there are 2 forms of guidance that they can do. One is avavada, second is anusasana. How to translate these 2? Now, avavada means a specific advice. Specific advice based on something happened. It's a specific advice. Let's say someone did a bad thing, someone didn't do better. The teacher thinks that the student can do better, but not enough, not levelish. Say for instance, practice sila but does not properly practice sila. Practices dana but not practicing dana in the proper way. So the teacher is giving avavad. Right? I think it can happen in your normal life too, right? Avavad. Anusasana means unspecific advice. That means you haven't done anything wrong, but the teacher is telling something good. Take caution, be careful. You haven't done anything wrong, but just to make you better in the long run. It's unspecific. What would you like to get out of these 2? What would you like to get out of these 2 from a teacher? Huh? Second, because you don't want to be branded, you did a mistake, right? So, anusasana is what I think we all like. But what if some people are still not good enough in their practice? So then teachers have to go to avavad, do some avavad. But when some people take it as a scold, it's not a scold. But avavada has to be given in a gentle way, which we discussed last week. Gentle way, right? It can be gentle, harsh, gentle and harsh, right? Avavadas can come from these 3 channels. Gentle way means, how does the Buddha advise someone in a gentle way? Does it mean Buddha comes behind you and give you a tap, hey, hey buddy, be careful, Is it the gentle? No. What is the gentle way of teaching, guiding someone in Buddhism? That's what the Buddha did. No, we have clearly discussed about this last week. How come you forgot, huh? Less than a week? Less than little over a week? What is the gentle way of training? Remember the horse trainer story? The Buddha only talks about good actions, good speeches, good thoughts, and the results of good actions, good thoughts, and good speeches. All are good. Now, when he wants to talk about precepts, it is take care of other beings. If you take care of other beings, you will be taken care by other people. And you make a lot of kusalas. And you have long life. And take care of other people's things. When you do that, this will happen, this will happen. Good stuff. Engage in sexual conduct, but not sexual. That part is not in that story. Gentle way. Engage in sexual conduct. If you do that, this will happen. Always speak the truth. If you speak the truth, this will happen. Always try to have a peace of mind, have a mind where you can make a sound judgment. This will happen. That is a gentle way. Then there are times Buddha had to say, killing is bad, don't kill. If you kill, this will happen to you. Stealing is bad. If you do it, this will happen to you. And don't do it. Sexual misconduct is bad. If you do it, this will happen. Don't do it. Lying is bad. If you do it, this will happen. Don't do it. Taking food and beverages to an extent where you can't make a sound judgment is bad. This will happen to you if you do it. So don't do it. What is that? Harsh training. I think most of the Dharma talks go around this type of teaching. I think nowadays, harsh training. People never know. People think it's Dhamma way. No, it's harsh training. Dhamma speaker has already understood, perceived, you are not easily trainable. You got to be trained in the harsh way, not the gentle way. Right? Then sometimes some people need the both, gentle, harsh. So I think most of the times, perhaps the gentle way is going to Anusasana, because people not have done any mistakes. And harsh way and gentle harsh way go to Avavada side. That is how we look at it. Right? So now we are discussing Buddha's 7th qualities. 7th one. What is it? Satta Deva Manusana. Okay, Satta. Satta means teacher, and teacher gives us his guidance in these two ways, which includes these three methods, one of the methods. Now we are talking Satta. Does Satta have another meaning? Have you ever found out this Pali word in your readings? Not yet. The Buddha said in one of the suttas, Pancha Vanijja Sutta. Pancha Vanijja Sutta, Anguttara Nikaya, I think book 5, that don't engage in 5 businesses. Huh? Don't engage in, if you can. If you cannot, then what to do? Huh? Maybe your mother business, father, family business might be one of them. But if you can. One of them is Satta. Satta means don't sell the teacher. Is it? Weapon. Weapon. Another meaning of Satta is not Satta. Sattha actually, not Satta. This Satta. Satta. We take out this upper bar. Sattha means weapon. The Buddha said, don't engage in this one. And then Satta Vanijja, human trafficking. And then poison. And there are another two. So I let you search them. Pancha Vanijja Sutta. So, Sat. So now I think we have to go to our section here. The Buddha is the teacher. Here Sattha, this Sattha, teacher to the deities and the humans. Deities and the humans. When we say deities, we understand Devas and Brahma Devas. There are two types of Devas here. Devas and Brahma Devas. Okay. I think there is no issue in accepting this idea because it's commonplace, because Buddha is definitely the great teacher to Devas and humans. We will see a couple of notes about it actually, just to make it. Why is the Buddha Sattha Deva Manusana? The Buddha is the greatest teacher for both Devas and humans. Why? Do you think did some monks fail in teaching devotees in their practices, in their activities? I would like to show you a true incident that happened at the Buddha's time, where some devotees didn't like certain very famous monks and their teaching. Okay, this stanza, Dhammapadas 227, 228, 229, 223. Atula Upasak. There was a man called Atula. Atula. What does Atula mean? Tula means compare. Someone who cannot be compared. In this story, let's see. Once, Atula and his companions, numbering 500 people, wishing to listen to Dhamma, words of Dhamma, went to Bhante Revata. He was a famous disciple of the Buddha. The Thera, however, was very aloof like a lion. He likes to stay as silent, aloof. He did not say anything to them. Some monks, they don't like to talk to other people. They like to stay silent in a room. Right? There are different monks. Don't paint everyone with the same brush. There are different monks. So he didn't say anything. They were very much dissatisfied about him. He did not give a Dhamma talk as well. We were there with 500 people. Why he didn't give a Dhamma talk? So they went to Arahant Sariputta. Then they approached the first disciple of the Buddha. When Arahant Sariputta learned why they had come, he expounded a very exhaustive Dhamma talk on Abhidhamma. He thought, many people came, I give a very hardcore Dhamma teaching. He gave Abhidhamma at that day. You know, what happens when a monk is talking very hardcore Dhamma teaching right away for a new crowd? What happened? He was also was not to their liking, and they grumbled that Arahant Sariputta had been too lengthy and too profound. That means Arahant Sariputta did not understand the audience. Right? That's what. And then next, Atula and his other friends approach Bhante Ananda, who knows all these suttas. Bhante Ananda expounded to them the bare essential of the very, very basic Dhamma talk. You know, don't kill, don't steal, don't sexually, very basic. He thought that these people came after they were not happy with Arahant Sariputta's Abhidhamma talk, so I better make it very light. So he went to the very basic ABCs of Buddhism. And then what happened? This time they remarked that Bhante Ananda had been too brief and too sketchy. They were not happy. Finally, they came to the Buddha and said to him, Venerable Sir, we have come to listen to your teaching. We have been to other teachers before we come here. Actually, it has to be added, your famous students, but we are not satisfied with any of them. Bhante Revata did not bother to teach us. He just kept silent. Arahan Sariputta was talking Abhidhamma. And as for Bhante Ananda, he was too brief and too sketchy. We don't like any of their discourses. Right? And then, to them the Buddha said something interesting. My disciples, blaming others is not something new. There is no one in this world who is never blamed. People would blame even a king or even a Buddha. To be blamed or to be praised by an unwise person is of no consequence. One is truly blamed only when he is blamed by a wise man, and truly praised when praised by a wise person. Interesting story. Dhammapadas 227, 228, 229, 30 stanzas. Now, this does not mean Bhante Sariputta's Dhamma talk is not good, Bhante Ananda's Dhamma talk is not good, or Bhante Revata is not good. This means that Buddha is the greatest teacher. Buddha understands the audience well before his Dhamma talk is going to start off. Understanding the audience is very important. You might be very knowledgeable. You might know everything. But to give that Dhamma to the audience in a way how they can accept the logic of your Dhamma is very important. Then you should know how to disseminate Dhamma. That's why Buddhism has its own challenges, not from the Buddhism itself, but from the speaker's side. How do we introduce Buddhism to other people? What if we talk about everything is impermanent, everything is suffering, so even we don't exist, even we don't exist, anatta. So then why are we doing all these things? Let's leave out everything and do our other things, right? We are not supposed to bring these type of most of them are actually wrongly interpreted. Actually, even they are properly interpreted, we should not bring them in the first place. Today we will learn that, how to introduce Buddhism to somebody. That is a very interesting one. We are not going to convert anybody, but if somebody is interested, how to introduce Buddhism, how to introduce these Buddhist things to other people, right? So here, when the Buddha said, these things to Atula, Upasaka Atula, and then he gave a Dhamma talk, they were all happy, because Buddha knows how to talk to people. How to talk to people is a profound skill. In the modern world, we understand it as marketing. There are professional marketers. You might be the person who can do the job, but you don't know how to market it. So Buddhism is not taken as a marketing project, but when this is going to be disseminated, we have to understand the audience. That is how we are going to talk. The Buddha understands the audience very well. There are a number of stories where we can talk about his understanding the stories. We will be discussing. His teaching approach varies according to the individual. Teaching approach varies, not one kind of teaching methodology. Now, I think we talk about it in classroom setup. In a classroom, when a professor is going to teach, he has to understand there are genius students and there are students who don't have even the normal level. So is the teacher supposed to go only with the genius, or he or she has to focus on those ones too, who even cannot understand the normal lesson? So then definitely this teaching is a very interesting skill. Employing one of the three methods we discussed, the gentle way, harsh way, a combination we discussed already. Additionally, Buddha's teachings encompass a range of other important elements. Let's talk about these other important elements. Not everything, but at least just to highlight a couple of them. The sequence of topics he uses to introduce newcomers to Buddhism. Very interesting. Okay, Now, when someone comes to see the Buddha, he has a way of talking, discussing topics. His Dhamma talks work in a sequence. Not that he picks up Nibbana in the first place. Not that he picks up what you call some of the hardcore teachings in the first place. So there is a Pali name for that, Anupubbi Kata. What is it? Anupubbi Kata. Anupubba means order. Kata means he has a orderly way of presenting his Dhamma teachings. Anupubbi Kata refers to a gradual or sequential teaching method in Buddhism, often used to introduce concept progressively, making individuals, audience, easier to understand and integrate. This approach emphasizes starting with foundational ideas before moving on to more advanced teachings. Okay. The first topic the Buddha uses in his Dhamma talks is Dana. Dana is the first topic. Right? Generosity is a powerful practice that cultivates compassion and strengthens community bonds. When we give without expecting anything in return, we experience a deep sense of fulfillment and joy. But some would say the opposite. When they give with strings attached, they might experience a deep sense of fulfillment and joy. Different people look at it differently. Generosity not only benefits others but also enriches our own lives, fostering a mindset of abundance and gratitude. Okay, Dana. Why are we supposed to, let's say you are going to introduce someone to Buddhism. You are not bringing your person to the meditation retreat on the first day. You are not bringing your friend to Abhidhamma class. There are people who are doing that. If you want to learn, yeah, come with me, I go to Abhidhamma class. You will learn the true Buddhism. And then they get messed up in the Abhidhamma class. What is this? All technical stuff. There are many minds. Mind is somewhere. There are mind processes. Then they get bombarded with a lot of hardcore teachings. And they dislike it. What is this? How can I become a better person by learning this in the first place? No. Come as a normal person, engage in a Dana activity first. Generous Dana activity. Not only to Sangha members. Learn Dana. Dana can be a very profound, expanded teaching. Now, let's say, for instance, we know there were many people who gave Dana differently at the Buddha's time. Right? We have discussed them. The Buddha said, when you give a Dana, do the way, do things to other people better than how you eat, consume. 3 types of donors. I think we discussed that. There are people who give things, give things to other people, even the food, lower than how they consume. I don't want to give something to you. Not they want to say, but they have this mindset. And sometimes some people give only to the extent that how they eat. I cannot give anything higher and more. But the Buddha appreciates someone who is trying very much to give something higher, better than oneself, if possible, if you can afford that kind of Dana. And Dana is going around many concepts, sharing Dhamma. What is the highest Dana in Buddhism? Highest Dana. Dhamma Dana. Dhamma Dana means? What is Dhamma Dana? Sabba Danang Dhamma Danang Chinati. Dhamma Dana means? Sharing the true Dhamma, right? Maybe in the past there were Dhamma books, many Dhamma books, but nowadays people don't read that many books because of this technological advancements. Then even, maybe writing Dhamma digitally, sharing, right? And then probably supporting, donating to those activities, right? All these are included in that Dhammadana perspective. Because when someone is giving Dhamma, then many people are learning that thing, right? That is the important thing. And what are the other ways of giving dana? Other ways? Volunteering is a dana, giving time. Then, what are the other ways of giving dana? Other forms of dana? Rejoicing in others' danas. But that doesn't mean that you are never giving a dana. But time to time, you cannot give dana all the time, right? Because you have to work, you have other things to do, other chores. But being happy for others' danas. That means, are some people not happy when other people give dana? There is no such thing, right? And other ways of giving dana? Being generous. How to practice generosity differently? What are the ways to practice generosity differently? Go back to Dhajagga Sutta, we discussed that. How to do it? Is generosity only these couple of things, or is it something broader than that? Practicing Brahma Vihara is a mood of generosity. Practicing Metta, is it generosity? Yes, finally it is dana. So there are many people who cannot metta other people. They have a lot of conditions. I don't want to practice loving kindness to others. I have a problem with that person. So they cannot do that. And then karuna. Not many people can be kind to others. Giving kindness, give kindness, give metta, generosity. Then mudita, as you said, being able to happy for other people's achievements. Also dana. We have to give it, not keep it, give it. And then upekka. Can we give upekka to others? Yeah, we can bring upekka to understand other events. Upekka means this balanced mind. We cannot give it to many events. When we are experiencing some events, we will either get overwhelmed or very feel down about it. We cannot give metta. So that means upekka. Upekka is also one kind of dana. Have to give it. Then if you look at all these good qualities, they all are danas. Dana is not dana itself. Think about patience. How to become a patient person. Let's say that you are waiting to eat something and somebody cut the queue. Somebody cut the queue and 5 people ahead of you. This person came in and joined before you. And then, what do you think now? Can you give the patient to that person? Huh? I'm hungry and angry. People say, I'm hungry, angry. How come you cut this queue? Right? It's a moment of giving that patience. And give patience. Right? Maybe waiting to see the doctor. The doctor is not seeing us. The specialist say, no, I don't have appointments for you guys. I have to wait for a couple months. Then you wait. Right? Maybe if you have other ways, you may see the doctors. But patience, we have to give. That means generosity is the form of all the other qualities. It's not quality itself. A lot of people think dana is dana itself. No, dana is dana itself in the first place. But the second place, it is the quality, the form of practicing all the other qualities. That's why Buddha lays a high emphasis of this quality in his Dhamma talks. If someone comes, dana. If you are not generous, forget about Nibbana. Forget. You cannot do it. You are just a self-proclaimed enlightenment guy. I mean, you are never making anything to the Nibbana. And be generous. It's not just something you do in a room. It's something that you have to embrace what's happening around, beyond of you. Dana. After that, the audience is somewhat understood about the dana. Now the Buddha understands this person practicing dana. Then Buddha is slowly instilling another quality. What is it? Sila. Sila. But don't misunderstand. Sila is not rules. Some people wrongly understand Sila is rules, precepts. Sila means a discipline, an ethic. Are we supposed to have some ethics wherever we go? Do we have to follow some professional ethics? We should not make them rules. Nobody likes rules. Unless you get into somebody's house, say, we have our own house rules. You gotta stick to them, right? Sila is something that disciplines us, right? We may choose certain precepts, but don't take them as rules, because we don't know who is making the bad things, who is not making it, because they are all self practices. But discipline yourself. Sila is a help. Then, after Buddha noticed that you have certainly now growing, progressing in the dana practice, sila practice, then Buddha is slowly instilling another quality. What is it? Sagga. Sagga means happy rebirth. Because Buddha is not talking to everybody who is going to attain Nibbana. Now he is going to talk about this rebirth. You become a better person because then you will be able to be reborn in a better place. Who is not like to be reborn in a better place? Would you like to become a cat in the next life? Tell me. Become a dog? Would you like to become a small ant? No, I don't think so. You would like to become a human, right? If you are reborn. If you are not reborn, that's a different thing. But if you are going to be reborn, yes, to become a good human being who has lots of blessings in his or her life. One of the very important things of becoming a human being is so we can do more good karma and then, create that holistic life. That is very important. Number 4, after he talk about the next life thing, happy next life, then he is slowly instilling what he call the dangers of unnecessary sensual desires. Obsessive, I think I had to add something. Obsessive sensual desires. What do you think about your past life? Do you think that you haven't had any sensual desires in your past life? What would you think? You had. But luckily you seem to have not done obsessive sensual desires, obsessive one. If you had done, you would have not become like this. You had definitely done sensual desire. You have to. Why Buddha talks about the dangers of obsessive sensual desires at the 4th level? Why in today's world some speakers put this as the first in their Dharma talks? Then they turn them off, turn the audience off. Okay, they are not. I think Buddhist guys are not happy when we enjoy life. The Buddhist people don't like we enjoy our life. That's why they talk about this thing in the first place. Why they talk about dangers of obsessive sense. They don't say obsessive, they say sensual desires. They say dangers of sensual desires. That's the first thing in their speeches. Then, really, why are we here? We want to be happy. Now there is a problem here, impediment from the talk itself. But the Buddha brings it at the 4th level. He has to understand, people have to understand them. Then the 5th one is the reward of renunciation. This is also something in the first place some people present. Let go of all the things. That's the first thing that they are presenting. Buddha brings it as the 5th one. Nekkhamma. Now, I think this is also very interesting to follow in our own way. Now I'm asking, can you start your day, at least one day, without your makeup, without your jewelries, without your desired food, without your loved one, at least one day a month? I think we can incorporate that kind of practice, not that fully let go of all things. That's going to be not sensible, not going to work. We can talk these things, but we cannot do it. If we cannot do, then we should not talk about it. Right? So, nekkhamma means we are trying to create our own simplicity as lay people in your version. Can you live without your desired things at least a day, just to see how you can spend or not? That's a good thing. Right? And then renunciation. The last one is the Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths must be presented as the last topic in the Dhamma training. Right? So once again, number one is Dana, then Sila, Sagga, heaven, Adinava, the dangers of obsessive sensual desires, and renunciation, and then Four Noble Truths. And this is how the Buddha is teaching his audience, his people, as the greatest teacher. So in order to be a great Dhamma teacher, one must stick to this approach. Otherwise, you are going to turn the people off from the interest that they are having. Because different people come to Buddhism differently. Someone come from the parents' background. Someone say, no, I was born a Buddhist. Right? In some countries, they put it in their birth certificate, Buddhist, born Buddhist. And then some countries, among some people, they became Buddhist because something happened to their life. Somebody passed away. Some problems came in, they went to see a monk and they became Buddhist. There are different reasons. There's no one reason. So if there are different reasons people had to come to Buddhism, then can we maintain a very hardcore methodology to teach Buddhism for these people? No, we cannot. So we have to understand the lightest way and then the heaviest way, lightest to the heaviest, understanding the audience, making people understand Buddhism slowly, gradually. Right? Second, that we are going to learn about Buddha's teaching as the teacher is that how he gave the Dhamma talks, the way how he gave the Dhamma talks, especially the form of the way, different people. Attajjasaya, Parajjasaya, Pucchavasika, Attupattika. Attajjasaya means these teachings delivered by the Buddha out of his own volition stem from his keen observations and desire to share wisdom. They include profound insights on enlightenment factors and spiritual faculties, similar to a teacher imparting universally essential lessons without being prompted by question. Sometimes when he gives Dhamma talks, he is the one who chose the Dhamma talk topic. He gave it at his discretion. We call it Attajjasaya way of teaching Dhamma. So Buddha did that time to time. Second is Parajjasaya. Sometimes he did not give the Dhamma talk at his discretion. He was asking monks and other people, what were you talking before I came here? Tell me what you were talking. Then Buddha is giving the Dhamma talk on the topic of what other people were talking. Not in his interest, but making other people interest to become a Dhamma. We call it Parajjasaya. Third is Pucchavasika, as a Q&A. Some Dhamma talks were completely Q&As. What are those Dhamma talks? There are some suttas where Buddha talk about Dhammas as a Q&A. We call them as Vedal. Vedal. We call it Q and A's. This is another way of giving Dhamma talks. Sometimes I have to incorporate this method when I go to some place. I know that people are not having basic things, so I say, okay, ask questions. If you ask one, somebody asks two questions. So Q&A, that's a good way, rather than going for a sutta study, right? Vedalla. So Buddha said Pucchavasika is the name, but Vedalla, if you see a sutta called Vedalla, Chula Vedalla, Maha Vedalla means Q&A. Lots of such Q&A discussions. If you go to, let's go to one Vedalla Sutta. Maybe we can go to Maha Vedalla Sutta. Let's see here. See, all these are questions. Right? All these are questions. You can check later. Pucchavasika. The fourth way is Attupattika. Attupattika means there is no personal interest, there is no interest coming from other people, but there are certain sudden things happen at that time. So Buddha is approaching that particular event to give the Dhamma talk. So that means when the Buddha was giving his teaching, he did not always follow one particular way. He followed 4 ways to give Dhamma talks. He understood how to give it. Anupubbi Kata, the 5 topics, but the 5 topics were, not 5, 6 topics, Anupubbi Kata. These 6 topics were incorporated in the form of 4 forms. So this means Buddha is very open to discuss Dhamma with different individuals differently, right? With different individuals differently. Actually, what a nice idea is that. When you are a teacher, when you are a professor, lecturer, then you have to understand how to teach people, how to talk to people. Not that you have to give the same thing in the same way, right? And then the 4 types of learners of the Buddha. Now as a ripple effect of this, whatever the guidance, people understand Dhamma in 4 ways. So Buddha called them as 4 people. Some people, they are very easy to understand. Actually not even understand, realize the Dhamma. They are called as Uggatitannyo. Uggatitannyo. So they are very quick to understand the Dhamma. Very, very quick. Uggatitannyo. It is like Arahan Sariputta. It is said that he learned 2 lines of 1 stanza, he became a Sotapanna. We learn it every day. Nothing is happening, something wrong with us. Something is holding us back. That means just understanding Dhamma is not enough. Realizing is something more challenging. What is realizing? This Dhamma talk is given from somebody, come from a Dhamma talk, Dhamma book, but realization comes from my own personal background. Then I have to awaken myself. I'm in the deep sleep of akusala, kilesas. I have to awaken myself, and then I can cross. I can tap into this Dhamma teaching with that. We will be learning a couple of those things. So Arahan Sariputta. Vipannitannyo, which means gradual realization. Now it is said that Arahan Moggallana is a good example for this. The same stanza, Ye Dhamma Hetu Pavva Te Sang Hetun Tathagatuva. This stanza was uttered by Arahan Assaji, and then what happened? After learning the 2 lines of this stanza, Upatissa became a Sotapanna, Arahan Sariputta. Then Kolita, Arahan Moggallana, became a Sotapanna after hearing the 4 lines, the full stanza. That means Vipannitannyo. Third one, Neyya. Neyya means inquisitive people. There are people who are always inquiring, but never come to a certain realization. They need lots of time. They need maybe lots of lifetimes to understand Dhamma. Neyya people. They need lots of training. Padaparama means relying on repetition and memorization. They may not grasp deeper meanings right away, but can recall detailed information through continuous exposure. There are people who make Dhamma as an academic practice only. It's not going to work too. Then all the Buddhist professors must have been Sotapannas and Arahants. Right? It's not going to work too. They may know Dhamma clearly, maybe more clear than you, but realization is something else. Sometimes the beggar on the road could realize why he could understand his own personal life with the Dhamma. Sometimes a very rich man could do that too. So it's not the richness or the poverty or whatever other state. It is that ability to bring that personal experience to the Dhamma matter. Otherwise we can keep talking day and night, but nothing is going to happen. Just set up information, Padaparamas. Alright, so the Buddha understands that there are these type of people who realizes Dhamma differently. Some people never realize for their own problems. Okay, we will pick up couple of stories how Buddha approach certain individuals for the Dhamma. Number one is Patachara. Who is Patachara? Patachara. Who is Patachara? Patachara is a lady who lost his all loved ones, and then she went to the Buddha's temple, and by the time she went there, what happened to her? Her one son was taken by a bird, another son was drowned, and her husband was bitten by a cobra. They all dead. And she heard after all that her parents' house were fired, burned. So all the loved ones gone in couple of days. What would happen to you if that happens to you? Your whole world will collapse, right? It happened to her. And then she went to Jetavanarama, and then she had no clothes. She was naked. And the Buddha was giving a Dhamma talk. And everybody was not happy. How come this person is coming? No respect to the Buddha. What did the Buddha say? She went near the Buddha. What was the wording that the Buddha used for her? She said, "Sister, bring mindfulness. Be mindful." That's it. Because Buddha knows what's going on in her life. And then what happens? She understands something wrong. And I'm not able to understand what's happening now. I have lots of problems in my mind. And finally, she attained Nibbana. How she attained Nibbana? She saw some water coming from a high place to the low place. How many times we go to see waterfalls? We never become arahants. This lady just saw water fell down from here to here and she became arahant. Interesting. Why? Because she had gone through a lot of experiences in her life. She could understand. Yes. And she became an arahant. That means we don't need to go to many places to the forest to attain Nibbana just by seeing some water coming down. Maybe from a high place or the low place. Yes. If we are fortunate enough. So Patachara's story, Buddha, the way how Buddha was, I think compassion is very important in teaching. That's the most important, not the knowledge itself. Because if we are not compassionate, kind to other people, we cannot give this Dhamma. This is what is happening in the world now. A lot of educated people, intellectuals, but kindness has been slowly sometimes going down. Sometimes, yes, good. Compassion. Maha Pajapati Gautami, another story. Buddha's stepmother. What happened to her? She also became a bhikkhuni, nun, but before she wanted to become a nun, Buddha did not approve. Why? Buddha discriminated these women? Why was it? Buddha knew there was a problem with the security at that time. And then the Buddha said, if you accept 8 things, then I will grant you the bhikkhuni status. Then finally what happened, just before she passed away before the Buddha, and she hand-made a robe. She brought it to the Buddha, said, I would like to offer this to you. Then the Buddha said, I know you are an arahant, but don't offer to me. I think it's a very interesting topic these days. Katina time is now happening. Offering a robe is such a very interesting, I think all these Buddhist centers, they are encouraging, right? So it's good to know how the Buddha looks at it, not that how you go and offer to the Buddha, how Buddha looks at it. And Buddha said, don't offer it to me. Offer to the Sangha. Then she was a little bit confused. He said, the Buddha said, when you offer to the Sangha, I am also part of that offering. Dakkina Vibhanga Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya. So, what we're going to learn about Mahapajapati Gautami's story with regard to the Buddha's what you call mentorhood and then teaching style is that Buddha wanted his followers to understand the real, true way. He did not want people to follow blindly. Visakha. Visakha is the chief lay woman in Buddha's temple, Jetavana, lately Purvarama. How she interacted with her? How did the Buddha approach Vishaka? Vishaka was a Sotapanna already. And Buddha was listening to many Vishaka's requests. Vishaka is bringing the stories of the other lay people. Other lay people tell things to Vishaka, and Vishaka is bringing all that to the Buddha. And then Buddha is patient listening to her things, what she is saying. And sometimes he was making some advices, giving some advices to the monks. So he was willing to listen to other people. But he listens to other people, Buddha listens to other people, but don't make any drastic, unnecessary judgment. Now our people, they listen and they do all the bad things after that. We have to listen to other people, but you are the one who should decide what is true, what is untrue. But we learn from the Buddha, he listens to Vishaka, but he understands what is to be implemented, what not to be implemented. So another good quality in teaching is listen to other people, not that thinking that you know everything, although you are the Buddha. If one of us think that I know everything about Buddhism, I know everything in my life, our practice falls apart. Even the Buddha didn't do that. Matta Kundali, who is this? Did he see the Buddha? He never saw him. By why he is mentioning in the stories? Matta Kundali. Matta Kundali had a very bad experience. His father was Adinna Pubbaka, such a very stingy man. Matta Kundali was diagnosed with jaundice. Some people say it's anemia. Then father didn't want to spend money. So he's such a very greedy guy, stingy guy. So what happened was that he spent some time with him. Then when the situation is going very bad, he brought him out with the bed, put him outside the veranda, because he thought when people come to see him when he's dead, people will see my belongings, what I have, lots of money, jewelry, everything. So he put him outside. So Matta Kundali was going through lots of pain because of not having proper treatments to this jaundice issue. One day, just before he passed away, maybe probably a couple days before, Buddha could see him through his great compassion. Every morning, Buddha is checking, who am I going to help today? Are we doing that every morning? Or are we doing the opposite? Who am I going to disturb today? Right? Who is my bully today? Some people who is bullying, morning to evening, they are bullying other people, mentally, physically, emotionally. Right? Buddha is, learn from the Buddha. First thing come first in the morning. Who am I going to help today? In whatever the good way. He saw Matta Kundali was abandoned by his father. I better help this. He's a child, actually a teenager. How to help him? I cannot go today. I am so busy. So I send a certain aura to him. Matta Kundali saw something. And then he didn't know what is this. He never seen the Buddha. He never know about the Buddha. Then he saw the Buddha. And then his final moments were about the Buddha's, that particular visualization. He passed away. He became a Deva as Matta Kundali. That means these Buddha statues are important too. See, the Buddha didn't come in person. But the problem is these Buddha statues don't replicate the exact Buddha, precise Buddha. But at least we can calm us down by looking at Buddha statue. So then that means when Buddha cannot help someone directly, he could send that aura visualization to happen so they could focus. So these are different ways of approaching different people. There are many ways to look at it. We don't have time to discuss all that. So we have to learn how Buddha changed his methodology in approaching other beings to help out. Some animals. Even Buddha helped out one elephant, female elephant called Bhadravatika, who was abandoned by the king. And many other beings, animals, human beings, many beings were helped out by the Buddha. I mean, in the way how he taught Dharma. So maybe if you have any questions, you can ask later about it. Now we are going to do this next quality, the 8th quality. We'll make it a little short because of the timing. Why is the Buddha called Buddho? Buddho. He is called the Buddha because he awakened to the Four Noble Truths. He became the Buddha because he awakened to the Four Noble Truths. Others also awakened to the Four Noble Truths, but he is the first one. At the same time, he helps others awaken and fully understand these truths. Bodheta Pachayati Buddho. Right? So we understood Pacceka Buddhas cannot make other people attain Nibbana. So Buddha is the one who can do that. Because he awakened to the Four Noble Truths and he helps others awaken and fully understand these truths. Buddha. Finally, Bhagava. Why is the Buddha Bhagava? Bhaggarago, Bhaggadoso, Bhaggamoho, Anasavo, Bhaggasa Papaka Dhamma, Bhagavatena Vucchati. Bhagga. What does Bhagga mean? Bhagga. Huh? Bhagga doesn't mean bless. That is an implied meaning. Bhagga means uproot. Uproot. Then how to translate Bhaggarago, bless lust. Bhaggadoso, bless hatred. Bhaggamoho, bless delusion. We cannot translate that way. Bhagga means uproot. The Buddha uprooted the raga, lust. Bhaggadoso, the Buddha uprooted the dosa, hatred. Then Bhaggamoho, the Buddha uprooted the delusion. And Buddha uprooted asavas and also the evil mental states. That's why Buddha is Bhagava. So the blessed one is a literal meaning. Another meaning of Bhagava is Bhagava means blessed. But how he is blessed does not come from just being blessed. He is the blessed one because he has uprooted all these things. Raga, dosa, moha. You can see here the Buddha uprooted lust, hatred and delusion, achieving complete freedom from asavas and eliminated all unwholesome states of mind. So now whenever you are saying Itipiso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vijja Charana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Purusha Dhamma Sarati Sattadiyo Manusanam, these things should come to your mind. Why is the Buddha Satta Deva Manusana? Buddha had different ways of approaching people, different teaching methods, and Buddha understood his audience very well. Buddha was very compassionate in his teaching, right? All these things should come. Why is the Buddha Buddha? He awakened to the Four Noble Truths, and he is making other people awaken to the Four Noble Truths, all that. And why is the Buddha Bhagava? The Buddha uprooted Raga, Dosa, Moha. That's why he is Bhagava. That means now we are going to connect this, the sutta statement here. See? Ahanchako bhikkave evang vadami. Monks, I would tell you this. Sache tumhakam bhikkave aranya gatanangva. If you go to the forest, rukka mula gatana. If you go to a foot of a tree, sunyagara. If you go to an empty place. In case you have bhayangva, fear, chambitatangva, terror, lomahansova, any horripilation, butterflies, goosebumps, you can think about me, my quality, anussarayat. What are my qualities? Arahang, number 1, Samma Sambuddha, number 2, Vijjacharana, number 3, Sugato, number 4, Lokavidu, number 5, Anuttaru, Pusadhamma, number 6, Sattadi, Manusanang, number 7, Buddha 8, Bhagavan. We have discussed already all these 9. Then, that's it. Mamang hivo bhikkave anussaratang. As you reflect upon my 9 great qualities, yang bhavissati bhayangva. If you happen to encounter any fear, any terror, any horripilation, any goosebump, any butterfly, those things should go away. But you have to properly reflect on my good qualities. What is this sunyagara? Buddha talks about 3 places: forest, foot of a tree, and sunyagara. Sunyagara, empty place. What is empty place? An unfurnished room? Huh? A private place. Yes, we should have a private place. Huh? A place where we can peacefully practice Dhamma. Right? Do our practice. We should have that place. Right? So, Buddha asks us to practice. All right. Any questions about today, because we finalized the 9 great qualities. From next week, we are going to start off the Dhamma qualities. Huh? Because the connection to the Dhamma is that in case after you reflected my qualities, still you have fear, still you have terror, still you come up with butterflies, goosebumps, then you should think about Dhamma. Things are coming up like that. Okay, any questions about the Buddha's great qualities and today's session? There's a mic over here, so you can go there and ask the questions. Yeah. Please.
Good evening, Bhante.
Good evening.
Bhante, you mentioned that our next Buddha, Maitreya.
Maitreya. Oh, we can say Mette, yeah.
Maitreya, you say that he got the permission from our Gautama Buddha that he's going to be the next Buddha. So this Maitreya, did this Maitreya appear during Gautama's lifetime? If he appeared, then what is his name and when he met the Buddha and got the permission? Thank you, Bhante.
His name, oh, I think I forget. I cannot remember his name. Yeah, he met him. We normally call him Maitreya Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva, definitely. But he had a name. I think he's a Deva, Tusita Deva. Because if all the Bodhisattvas, just before they're going to become Buddhas, they must be Tusita Devas. Devas, Tusita heaven. That's why Tusita heaven is such a place for the Bodhisattvas. We call it Niyata Vyakarana, precise statement from a previous Buddha, must be acquired in order to become a future Buddha. Yeah. Yes. It doesn't matter because it's happening in another life. Yes. It doesn't matter which life you are getting that precise statement from another Buddha, but you must go through that precise statement. Another Buddha has to verify you, you are the next one. That should happen. Yeah, different Buddhas get it differently. Yes. But anyways, he got it. He got the precise statement from Shakyamuni Buddha. The place is Sankasa. Sankasa, yeah.
Hi, evening Bhante.
Good evening.
Just want to ask, Maitreya will only appear when the Dharma teachings have been lost, is it? That's what I read in other suttas as well.
Your fear arises when you Dhamma?
No, I mean, I read somewhere that once the Dharma has been sort of lost or something, then only Maitreya will appear.
Ah.
Yeah.
All right, there is a story for that.
Okay.
Normally, this universe has to devolve. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And now there's a time that it will be finished with evolution. It has to devolve, and then at that point, a lot of physical things are going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, it will be destroyed, and ethically, it will be destroyed.
Okay.
And then Maitreya Buddha has to have that, Bodhisattva has to have that background to search again, and then, yeah.
Okay.
That's what we know.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Bhante.
Yes. But we don't have to wait for him. We already have the everything, right? Don't wait for him. Yes. Because we have to wait, it means we have to become reborn and reborn. We don't know what will happen to us in the meantime.
Good evening, Bhante. Two questions. One, the 9 qualities of this attribute of this Buddha, is it only Sama Sambuddha only?
Yes.
Do Pacceka Buddha and Savaka Buddha have these qualities?
These are exclusively for the Samma Sambuddha.
Sama Sambuddha only.
Because Pacceka Buddhas cannot teach people.
Yeah.
Then they are lost in some quality. But they have some qualities differently.
Like you say, I think in the previous thing, only one Buddha will come out, will appear at one time. So if the Savaka Buddha or Pacceka appear, then Sama Sambuddha won't appear.
No, Savaka Buddha. Who is Savaka Buddha?
No, Sama Sambuddha.
Samma Sambuddha.
Sama,
When Samma Sambuddha is appearing, there are no
the other won't
Pacceka
come.
Buddhas.
Yeah. But if Pacceka or Savaka Buddha appear, means they don't preach to us.
Savaka Buddha.
Yeah.
You say Savaka, S-A.
Yeah.
Savaka Buddha means Arahants.
Oh, so they don't.
Arahants have to come after Samma Sambuddha.
But they will appear. They also will appear.
No, Arahants have to listen to Buddha and then to become Arahant. So that means Samma Sambuddha and Savaka Buddhas live together. But Pacceka Buddhas cannot.
Okay.
They have to come up between that interim time.
Okay. And the other question, like you say, when we experience fear or whatever, we have to reflect on the 9 attributes of this.
No,
Buddha.
before that. Before
yeah.
the fear comes. The
Yeah.
fear comes, we cannot think about these things.
Yeah. So
We are
what,
so feared to think about it.
Yeah. So what I would like to ask is that in what form, in what mode, do we think, do we chant, or what are the form?
You nail it down, huh? Interesting. Very interesting.
Yes,
He's
sir.
asking
Like
how
you
do we see in the
Yeah,
practical
how
life.
you do
Yeah.
it, because like you said earlier, I thought when the fear comes, then you start thinking, which you say is too late.
Too late. Yeah.
So now I go one step behind. Before that, what are the form that
Okay.
when the time comes, we need them?
Yeah, it's a very interesting point actually. Actually, this practice must have started as soon as possible. So when the fears come, then we know what to do with it. It's like you are practicing metta after become angry. Right? then you will say, what is this metta? You know, I'm so angry. And other people around you, so you are going to temple, you are going to sutta study, but see, you are getting angry. I'm staying at home. I don't do anything in particular, but I have my calmness. But you are going to these viharas, retreats, but you still getting angry. Why is it? What's the problem? That means this is an individual thing. So how to do it is this. Let me answer that question. Now we all know this statement, Itipiso Bhagavara Samma Sambuddha. So what I suggest you is that you need to read and understand the context of these 9 as we discuss. Number 1. Then every time you recite it, even before fear comes, you know, Arahang is this, Samma Sambuddho is this, Vijjacharana Sampanno is this, Sugato is like that. So we keep chanting is the best way, and then thinking about the context. When we keep doing for a certain time, when the actual fear is arising, we are not getting feared every day, right? I don't know, it happens to everybody, but if when that actual fear is coming, when that actual butterfly is coming, not for a normal reason, for that actual reasons, then you are immediately going back to Arahang is that. Buddha is going to be like this. I have the Buddha's help, support, because I trust him this way, that way. That is how we are going to. No, chanting is how we are going to think about it first. It depends. Some people find chanting is easy. Some people find it easy because some people's thinking cognition facility is not that adequately enough. Not everybody is intellectual, right? Becoming intellectual when they are going through bad times, right? So I think it's better to have it in the first place as a chanting, but immediately go and reflect upon the individual qualities with their context. Before fear comes. When the actual fear comes, you can do the same thing. Have a practice, have a daily practice. Without a daily practice, you cannot do this. Metta also the same. Satipatthana is also the same. This is also the same. But the nice thing is that when you practice Satipatthanas, you will be mindful, but your fear might be still there. But when you practice the Buddha's qualities, fear can go away because you know he's more powerful. Right? So that's the helpful way actually. No, don't take it in a very obsessive way. First understand your fears, understand your life, and see how you're going to bring it to your daily life. What I suggest was initially, by way of chanting, you can understand, then think about the context. That's why you are coming and learning these things, right? So these 9. Please, other people for the... No, you have a question.
So Bhante, in my opinion, instead of chanting Pali itself alone, we should chant Pali and English so that the understanding, the significance of the kata will be implanted in our mind.
Are you asking this question in parallel to this Dhajagga Sutta's way, or just a mere question about chanting, how to chant?
Because Bhante says that in order to dispel our fear, we have to reflect Buddha's qualities. And Buddha's quality is in this Itipiso Bhagava Arahan Samma Sambuddha, where we chant every day after we take the 5 precepts. But we always chant in Pali. And sometimes, we are not a Sri Lankan. The Pali, we don't understand the meaning. We just
that's why we were discussing here actually, these 9.
So in my opinion, when we chant in our personal practice, instead of chant Pali is alone, we should also chant English so that the significance of the kata is implanted in our mind.
No, we don't need to chant in English. We understand in English. We chant in Pali. That's how Buddha said. Do we want to chant something that Buddha never chanted in a different language? I think we chant in Pali. We understand in our own language. maybe your own language. You have your own language. You understand your own language. So now what we are saying is that chanting must be done in Pali, because Buddha said in Pali, and even the non-human beings are sensitive to Pali, not to English. They are not sensitive to English, because Buddha has talked to them in Pali. So then they are very sensitive to Pali. So we have to talk to, we have to make the connection to them. But if they are not sensitive to what we talk, they might say, you talking in another language, we don't know what you're talking, you know. So we have to still bother you, you know. I mean, so we have to make it very clear, you know, you are understood, I am understanding, and I do the right thing here. So Pali, what I'm saying is that don't bother with all these Pali things, many suttas. I think Itipiso, Swakato, Supatipanno, they are very popular, easy things, but we need to understand one by one. That's what we are doing here. That is more beneficial, because that's why then all these monks should stop chanting in Pali. They should chant in their own language. That's not going to work. They know. You ask from them, they will tell you. It's not going to work. So that's why we keep it that way. That's better actually. But it doesn't mean that you're understanding in different other languages. So it's you have to do that too, because if you don't understand your own language. Now here in English. All right, any other questions?
Bhante, can we do a shortcut? Basically, there are 9 virtues. I mean, by the time we collect the 9 virtues, it's a bit too slow already. So, can we basically, if we like a particular virtue and it gives meaning, very meaningful to the understanding, the context. So, the fear factor that we mentioned is because we spoke the quality of the Buddha, then the fear go away. Or is it that when we spoke the quality of the Buddha, when the joy comes, and then the fear doesn't exist? What is Bhante's comment on it?
Okay, the problem here is that now we have to look at who are our disturbing crowd. It could be a non-human disturbing crowd. It could be human crowd, right? It's not the Buddha, right? Definitely we are struggling with other people. So what I understand is if we only reflect one or two, the disturbing crowd, let's say non-human, they will understand you don't know the full qualities of the Buddha. That's why you only think about 2 qualities of the Buddha, right? Because you are going to bypass the 9 great qualities. So let's try to reflect simultaneously as a whole. That is better. That is how the Buddha asks us to practice. These 9 must be practiced, reflected simultaneously. There are no shortcuts for that. If you find a shortcut, I don't think that might work in this reflection. That's why it is 9, it's not 20, just 9. It's a nice number, right?
Bhante, just because I'm trying to think out of the box, because with the teachings of the Buddha around here, there are even certain tradition when it comes to practice of a meditation object, they even use the word Buddho. Although this one was not actually mentioned anywhere else, but they, some or other think out of the box. I was wondering whether can we even think out of the box and do something different.
No, that's a different context. Actually, in a retreat I did few days ago, one person told me in the morning when we do the Anapanasati meditation, she could not help not dozing off. She was sleepy. And afternoon, she said she did something. What she did was, she was opening eyes looking at the Buddha statue. And she said she did not feel asleep. So different people find different ways. That is a different approach. And now when people meditate by saying Buddha, just to focus on the meditation. But this is a different issue. This is about fears, negativities. So in order for us to empower us, to properly understand our fears, it is better to take these 9 as a set. Yes, thinking out of the box is very important. I do understand that we have to do it. But in this case, these 9 come as a set. So we cannot set aside couple of these things. We cannot cherry pick couple. We cannot cherry pick here. It's better to take them as 9 because we know all of them. But there are other things we can cherry pick like that. Say for instance, Satipatthanas. We only pick Kayanupassana, the first Satipatthana. We don't need to do other 3. We can do that. But for this particular Buddha Anusati, we cannot. We have to take them as a set.
Sadhu.
Alright, I think that should be the whole questions, and then we are going to then wrap up our sutta discussion at this point. So we are going to study about the Dhamma's great qualities, and going to the number 11 next Monday. You can see. And plus, I think this kind of learning about qualities, great qualities about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, Tiratana help you to understand what you are chanting every day. You are chanting these 3 every day. When you go to Vihara, when you are doing it from house. So I think chanting without understanding these 9, or chanting only 1 or 2, might not really help out your overall practice. So it's very important and very beneficial for you to understand these 9 here, now 6 again, 9, 24. Okay, so may all the good karmas today we've been making, especially understanding all the 9 great qualities of the Buddha, and the good karmas we are making out of this learning be transferred to all the departed ones, and all the Devas and Nagas and Mahidhikas, may they be well and happy. Especially may the departed ones receive all these good karmas, may they be well and happy, and may they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idam me ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñātayo. Idam me ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñātayo. Idam me ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñātayo. At the same time, may all these good karmas be shared by all Devas, Nagas, and other non-human beings and all living beings. May they be well and happy. May they also protect and bless all of us for good health, quality of life, and prosperity. May they finally attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ittavata cha ammehi sambatang punya sangpadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sangpatti siddhya. Ittavata cha ammehi sambatang punya sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sangpatti siddhya. Ittavata cha ammehi sambatang punya sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sangpatti siddhya. Akasattha ca bhummattha deva naga mahindika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu sasanang. Akasattha ca bhummattha deva naga mahindika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu desanang. Akasattha ca bhummattha deva naga punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu mang paranti. Chirang rakkhantu tvam sadati. We are continuously make our Dhamma wish. May we be in the company of Kalyana Mittas till we attain Nibbana, and may we be not with the company, in the company of Papa Mittas, bad friends who can deviate our Dhamma practice. Thinking thus, we are going to make the wish. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamu satang samagamu hotu Yava Nibbana Patya. Finally, may all the good karmas we be making today, day 57 of our sutta discussion, be supportive and helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana Siddhissa Nichang Baddha Pachaino Chattaru Dhamma Vaddhanti Ayuvannu Sukhang Balang Ayurarogya Sampatti Sagga Sampatti Mevacha Atu Nibbana Sampatti Iminati Samichyatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now, over to Sister Beeling for the concluding things. Yeah.
So, dear brothers and sisters, let's pay respect to Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha by putting 3 vows. So we start vow number 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Wishing you a good night, safe driving back home. We'll see you next Monday.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you. Yes, please.